What is up, guys? Flossy Missiles here. In today's video, we're gonna be working on the 2022 Honda Grom, and what we'll be doing is making a custom exhaust out. And I pretty much bought it to turn into a little trail bike, take it out on some dirt trails. That's what I've been doing mostly with it, if you can tell. It's got about 120 miles, 130 miles on it, something like that. And as you can see, it's very dirty because it's been a trail bike for me. One of the main issues it has, though, is the exhaust runs right underneath, so any rock or anything like that, debris, off-roading, bumps, whatever, the exhaust will be the first thing to hit, so it's definitely a problem. There's a few other things, like the shifting linkage is pretty low as well, not as low as this. But yeah, the plan is to make a skid plate for it so I can mount it on the back of my van, because I have a little carrier thing. It's called the MX Hauler, and it's really nice to carry around a pit bike when you go camping. So that's what this thing is going to be basically. But we're going to do a full off-road build on this 2022 Honda Grom. I have so many plans for it, you know, skid plate, exhaust, forks, just tons of little stuff. Some of my own pegs for it too. I was looking at these pegs and yeah, pretty sketchy. So I'm going to build my own pegs for it too. But today we're working on the exhaust, so we'll focus on that. So I picked up this piece of exhaust tubing off of eBay. It was like 30 bucks, something like that. It's for just like a generic pit bike exhaust. And basically with this bend in it, I'm hoping I can cut off right here on the OEM Honda Grom exhaust and somehow tie this one in. I might have to do some heating up and bending, but route it up through here and then move this up here. But like I said, I don't know how well this is going to work, so guess we'll see here in a minute. I just popped off this cover and I see a few issues. This brake reservoir is going to be in the way, a little bit of wiring harness. But other than that, I think I should be able to route it right behind it and even probably use some of this bracketry to make an exhaust hanger off of. But we're going to keep on bolting things and see what happens. Just for fun, let's see what this thing sounds like with an open header. No muffler, ladies and gentlemen. It's actually still pretty quiet. I unhooked the battery because I know I'm going to be welding on this thing and I do not want to cook my ECU. Here's that generic pit bike exhaust. I'm going to go ahead and cut off the flange on it, this front part right here, and start mocking it up to the Grom. Okay, I'm at the point of no return. I'm going to go ahead and cut off this OEM 2022 Honda Grom exhaust so I can use this flange right here, and the way this fits is like, you know, perfect. Obviously it's going to seal. But so I'm going to use that and weld this to this. Wow, you can see there's so much clearance with that exhaust gone. So here it is all mocked into place, just held up by zip ties, but I got it fitting so nicely, and I don't think it's going to get anything too hot. It's far enough from everything. If anything is, you know, in the way, I'll end up putting a heat shield around that part of the exhaust, but it looks great. I couldn't be more happy with the fitment. And if you go to like the lowest part, which is this little thing so you don't hit your drain plug, it's like right there. It's right above it, so we're chilling. Let's see, hold on, let me get a better view of that. Yeah, we're like just right at that line. So it is the exhaust will no longer be the lowest part of the bottom of this Grom. Well, maybe it might be as low as that, I'm not sure. But anyways, it's looking really good and I'm stoked on it, but I gotta figure out a way to mount the muffler. There's already some pre-existing threaded holes right in here. So this is where your seat goes. I see one right there and I see one right there. But this blinker is in the way of the muffler. So if you put this muffler right here, you can see it's kind of in the way. What I'm going to end up doing is making a tail tidy for this Grom, so get rid of all this extra fender and all this crap, reflectors and stuff. So that's what I did with my old Grom anyways, and it looked really good. I'm going to end up doing that anyway, so for right now I'm going to remove the blinkers and this whole tail section and make way for the muffler. And then we're actually getting pretty close to start welding some stuff together. And then from that point, I'll try to make everything fit back and look OEM. Like I'll try to get that plastic piece back on here and then remount this brake reservoir somewhere. But yeah, I'm so stoked. This turned out so awesome. There's here's that whole tailpiece. This thing's quite bulky. It actually looks way better, as you can tell, without it. But I am gonna incorporate something to mount my license plate and my blinkers. I've been messing around with how this muffler is gonna fit for about the past, I don't know, 15 minutes now, and I think I got it kind of figured out. But it's gonna be hard to tell with this pipe not being welded on, or at least tacked into place. So I'm gonna go ahead and clean up that flange and that whole area right there, and I'm gonna throw some welds on it, just so this thing will be rigidly mounted and kind of finalized. And so I can go ahead and get a better mock-up of the muffler, and then mount the muffler. I'm gonna go ahead and start cutting up this stock muffler. So as you can see, I already removed the heat shields. Now I'm gonna go ahead and probably cut this bracket off, and then cut it off right here where it starts to bend. So I want to use like an OEM style grommet or isolator to mount the muffler, because I don't want it rattling around. I want it to be like an exhaust hanger to where it can wiggle a little bit without rattling everything loose. So this is the stock one. It's this hole right here. It's a 68 on the calipers. Yeah. And so I found a random piece of metal I got, which I'm going to drill out a little bit, make it a little bit bigger. We're going to put this piece of rubber in it right here, and then we'll have our own little steel isolator. So this is aluminum, so I can't just cut this off and weld this up here. I gotta make this work, which is a old rusty piece of metal I had. But I'm gonna clean it up and it's gonna look real nice. And that's how it's gonna look, just with a little hanger welded onto it. But yeah, the exhaust bolts, the muffler bolts onto this side right here. So I actually decided I'm gonna use that hole right there, which is next to one of the threaded ones, but it's not threaded. Just for fitment wise, that one seems to work the best, and then clearance wise, it's gonna work for me. Anyways, I got this bracket off of that piece of tubing that I bought off eBay for like 30 or 40 bucks. And that's what I'm gonna use for the bracket. I'm actually gonna cut this in half and weld it to here. And so it'll be like, basically like that on both sides. And then I'll have some way to bolt this on to the frame instead of just welding onto the subframe itself. I did some tacks on that exhaust hanger just to find out where everything is gonna sit and keep it there, spacing wise. And now I'm gonna fully weld it and clean up everything before I put it back on the bike. Not perfect, but it's gonna do its job. This is it on the bike. Actually fits so good. I gotta drill a hole in this plastic now and try to figure that all out, which is gonna be kind of a pain in the butt. Maybe I'll just put a slit in it for this guy to slide through. We'll see. So I first drilled a hole and then I busted out the Dremel, and I was able to get this clean looking hole right here where the exhaust muffler will mount to. So yeah, I'm super stoked with that fitment. If it does end up working out, that's gonna look pretty clean. Okay, I just bolted the muffler on. I had to trim up the mounting bracket a little bit, but the fitment is really good. In the back, everything looks like it has enough space. I don't think I'll be cooking anything, but we'll see. I still gotta mount or weld this guy on right here. And I gotta take the exhaust grommet off the old OEM Grom exhaust. So yeah, I'll have to trim this pipe back a little bit, or this header. Get this to mount nicely. I went ahead and weld prepped the muffler and the piece I'm gonna weld on the muffler to connect it to the header. Here's that original Grom graphite exhaust gasket. It did not come off very nicely. I'm gonna go ahead and order a new one of these. But hopefully this one seals just for now. But yeah, these are not easy to get off. Just ran over to my local dealer and got this new gasket. Let me show it to you guys real quick. Here's what it looks like. I don't know if it's gonna fit on that exhaust aftermarket one, so I might have to weld on the piece from the old one, because that one is like a 28 and then the stock one's like a 26 or something millimeter, so a little bit bigger. Here's the part number if you guys need one. I got everything tacked into place and how I want everything to fit. And so now all I'm going to do is remove the exhaust, fully weld everything, put it all back together, and we'll see how this thing sounds. Fully welded, fully welded. I didn't weld too much of the fully welding it because it's kind of boring just me throwing a beater on there and there and there. I'm gonna go ahead and start it up. I just plugged the battery back in. I know I should reset the ECU at some point, but it's super solidly mounted right now. And everything looks to be lined up really good. And I'm kind of curious the way it sounds. It should sound very similar to stock because the stock muffler's on here. The only thing changed out is this, and so there's no catalytic converter. Before there's a big cat right here. But let's fire it up. Yeah, pretty much sounds just like stock. No exhaust leaks, which is nice. It might be a little bit louder, but yeah, pretty much stock. I'm gonna throw this heat shield back on right here so my girlfriend's leg doesn't get burned. And yeah, I'm gonna keep letting it run for a little bit. Try to find anything that could potentially be a problem, anything getting hot around it, but it's so far from everything that I think we should be fine. And then we'll work on fitting up the rest of the things. And there you go, there's both the heat shields back on. I had to trim a little bit of this front piece off over on the most forward one, but they both fit good. So I can bolt those on and leg will be protected for the rear passenger. It's so tucked in the front, you're not having any problems for the main driver, but passenger, throw some heat shields on. Okay, I had to kind of make a funky bracket for the brake reservoir because it would not fit anywhere with the length of line, and yeah, it was just kind of a pain in the butt. So I ended up making this like L-shaped bracket that goes up into an existing threaded hole. And it's not super pretty. I'm gonna clean it up a little bit and paint it and everything like that, but yeah, you can see it's mounted now. Okay, everything has been reinstalled, everything's been trimmed to fit, and it looks pretty good, I think, in my opinion. I went ahead and added some heat loom wrap to that wire that was right there. I got it from the hardware store. It's $5 for like a foot of this 1200 degree heat loom wrap stuff. So yeah, that'll keep that wire safe. But yeah, I'm trying to see if anything else is burning, but I don't think anything else is. There is some paint down there that's smoking a little bit because I had to put some paint on where I welded. But oh, I also made a tail tidy really quickly, which I'll make a video for. But yeah, I just made it out of the stock one. I just chopped it up and did something real quick, but it works great, honestly. It looks good too. So I'm gonna take this thing for a rip around the block, get it nice and hot, and let's see if anything starts to melt. I'm super excited with the way this exhaust turned out. I have so much more ground clearance now. It's like actually pretty insane. And yeah, I got a bunch more big plans for this thing, like I said. So yeah, let's take it for a rip and I'll give you guys a review in a second. Also for the rear passenger, I went ahead and I sat on it like this, which is sitting on the back. And honestly, nothing got super hot. It's been idling now for about, I don't know, 4 or 5 minutes. And this is, heat shield is doing its job pretty good. And it's not, my leg's not getting super hot or anything. So let's take it for a quick rip. Okay, I just came back from about a 20-minute ride. Nothing melted as far as I can see. As you saw in one of those last clips, I trimmed away a little way of this so I could mount that up properly. But yeah, runs good, no issues at all. Any issues with you?
No, no issues.
Yeah, so stoked the way this thing turned out. I'll have plenty of ground clearance now. If you like today's video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and subscribe to see more car or Grom content. Thank you so much for watching.